So basically, in this particular chapter, we saw the arrival of Mahatma Gandhi ji, and then we saw his methods. Then we learned about his methods. Basically, we studied about satyagraha, and then we saw how he implemented satyagraha in these three places. That is, once he came, he implemented this the strategy or the method of observing satyagraha in these three places. Number one was Champaran, number two Ahmedabad, and number three Khera district. In Champaran, what was the problem the people were facing? Basically, it was the Britishers who were harassing the farmers over here because they wanted the farmers to grow indigo. So they were forcing the farmers to grow indigo, and on the other hand, the Indian farmers, if at all they grew indigo plant, they would face, lots of loss. First of all, this particular plant would take away the fertility of the soil, and the farmers were in loss because of that. So over here, when they saw Gandhiji interrupted in this, and then he led a campaign against the Britishers in Champaran in support of these tenant farmers. This over here, they had achieved success. Okay, after that, the next destination was Ahmedabad mill strike in Gujarat. All right, over here, what had happened? Here, the mill workers went against the mill workers agitated against the mill owners. Why? First of all, they were not giving them, enough wages. They were not providing them with, proper work conditional environment, and their salaries were very less, basically. So over here also, Gandhiji, agitated, agitated with the Britishers for the help of these workers. And over here also he was successful. The third place was the Kheda Satyagraha. That is again in Gujarat. What had happened over here in the Kheda district, Gandhiji had advised and convinced the cultivators of the Khedas to stop paying land revenue. Okay, he had asked the Kheda people, the Kheda district people, not to pay revenue to the government. Why? Because that particular year the crops had failed because of the natural calamity. All right. So they had asked the Britishers, the people, not to pay the tax. Now the peasants therefore demanded the remission of the land tax from these government. Okay, and on the other hand, the British government had to accept this offer of the peasants. So these were the three places where Gandhiji had, started fighting with the Britishers, and in all these three places, the Indians had achieved success. So these three, success one after the other, it proved the efficiency of the Gandhian techniques. What was the Gandhian techniques? Basically, non-violence and satyagraha, right? That fighting for the cause through non-violence and satyagraha. Please underline the success in these three places proved the efficiency of the Gandhian techniques. All right. Through this success, we came, these were the three places where he had implemented, his techniques, and he found that, yes, it is working. So they could achieve their demands, they could fulfill their demands without going for war or without going for any violent agitation. By 1990, Gandhiji had become the most important leader of the national movement. He was convinced that the participation of the people in the movement was essential for its success. He became very popular among the masses and led a number of mass movements. So please underline this, that, by 1919, everybody was convinced. He became, for Gandhiji's technique, he became the important leader. He also understood, that for the success of any, for having the national movement, he requires maximum support from the masses. Okay, that means maximum people should come and should support this movement, and therefore after this, he led various massive movements against the Britishers. Let's see what happens further. All right, have you all understood till here? He soon occupied the center stage of national politics. So till his arrival, we had, everybody was trying on their part. On one hand, we had the uh, no, moderators. On the other hand, we had the radicals who were fighting their own ways. And on the other hand, we have what? We had four groups. Come on, who will tell me the four groups? One was
Mummy, second
moderate.
was radicals, ma'am.
Huh? Huh?
Third was Gandhian
Huh?
method,
Huh?
and
No, groups. Tell me the
And
groups.
ma'am, the third was the Muslim League
A very good Muslim League and
and
home
the
rule.
and
Ma'am,
the
the
Congress. Yes,
Congress.
very good, Priyanshu. Muslim League and Congress. So we had seen now that they came together, thinking that okay, we'll come together, we'll fight because we have only one goal to achieve. But then later on, we saw they also got divided. So nothing was working. But here, when these techniques were implemented and when this saw, a massive success, so now who took up the central stage? It was Gandhiji who took up the central stage, okay, for the national politics. Now, leading circumstances to the non-cooperation movement. Now, let's see what were the reasons, what were the causes for the start the non-cooperation movement. So these are very important. Number one was the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy. I hope most of the students are aware about
Yes,
what had
ma'am.
happened in
Yes,
before
ma'am.
I read this, can we just discuss what exactly, if what you all know about Jallianwala Bagh?
Ma'am, yeah.
Yes, let's
Ma'am,
see what you know.
in Amritsar, ma'am, today,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
ma'am, the British sepoy, uh,
Uh-huh.
Lord General Dyer,
Uh-huh.
he had killed all the Indian sepoys,
Uh-huh.
ma'am, because they were protesting against the Britishers.
Okay. So basically, Britishers had come up with a policy. And what was that policy? Wait, I'll just explain you all before I read in short, in a form of a story, so that you all understand what exactly had happened in Jallianwala Bagh. So basically, they had made a policy that no public meeting should be conducted, no more gatherings, no more discussions about national movements, and no public meetings should be there. Now, what had happened? These few Indians, they had gathered. Their intention was not to have a public meeting, but basically, it was a festival which they were celebrating. Which festival? Who will tell me at Amritsar?
Ma'am, Lodi.
ma'am,
Baisakhi. Okay, so now General Dyer, all right, the British officer, he entered this particular place, that is Jallianwala Bagh, and the description of this place was such that it had only one entrance and one exit, and it was closed from all the three sides. So it had only one entrance and one exit. So what did he do? He came from that exit entrance and he blocked that. Now the Indians who were there were so many Indians, who were there, who had gathered there along with their women and children, and he ordered fire on these Indians. So there were most of the people, many people who got killed. People, they were trying to save themselves, they were trying to climb the wall and all. But then General Dyer did not spare, even if it was a woman or if it was a small child. So he killed everyone mercilessly. So this is the tragedy which had happened at Jallianwala Bagh. Now let's see what is written in the text. The British government adopted the policy of repression to crush the anti-movement against the Rowlatt Act passed by the government in 1990. This act was the gross violation of the basic rights of liberty, justice of every Indian. In places, particularly in Punjab, the hartals led to violence. Two popular nationalist leaders were arrested in Amritsar. So basically, now we all know that the feeling of nationalism was developing gradually among most of the Indians. So don't you think that the Britishers, when they come to know, they will keep quiet? No, this will not happen. They will definitely take an action against us. So they tried all their ways to repress this anti-British movement which was growing, and for that they came up with this. So they started protesting all the meetings and all the gatherings to protest against the arrest leaders. So what they did, basically, they arrested two leaders, okay, two popular leaders in Amritsar, okay, where they had, first of all, through Rowlatt Act, they had banned in all public meetings. And in that process, they had arrested two nationalist leaders in Amritsar. Now, the people who were the supporters of these leaders, don't you think that they will also, react to it? Reaction will always be there. So, in reaction to that, to protest against the arrest of their leaders, a public meeting was held in 13 on 13th April 1990. Okay, so they just wanted to protest and they were discussing. Okay, and where was this meeting held? It was held at Jallianwala Bagh. All right. Now the people were unarmed and they were peaceful, so they were not creating any violent conditions. So they were peacefully having their meeting. All right, and they also did not had any intention of having a war or going against the Britishers. So they were just they had just peacefully gathered and they were discussing. Unfortunately, they were not aware that the military commander of Amritsar, that is General Dyer, this is very important. General Dyer had issued an order banning all public meetings. So these people who had met over there in Jallianwala Bagh for having a meeting, they were not aware about this order which was passed by General Dyer, that he had banned public meetings. So they were not aware about that. All right. So what did General Dyer do? General Dyer surrounded the Bagh with his troops. He blocked the only exit. Okay, there was the only exit. Okay, he blocked that and he ordered the troops to open fire on the peaceful gathering in Bagh. Okay, so when he came to know that, see, the people were innocent, Indians, they were innocent. They were not aware that any such order was passed by General Dyer. So when General Dyer came to know, he came with his troops, he blocked the exit and he opened fire on these Indians, innocent Indians. Now, this is more worst. The shooting continued till there was no ammunition left. So, and how many people died? Nearly 400 people were killed and over 1,000 were injured. Can you see the brutality? Martial law was proclaimed in Punjab. During this period, people were humiliated and tortured. The brutality of Jallianwala Bagh massacre and the humiliation and inhuman treatment of the Indians that followed shocked the entire nation. So this incident, which had happened at Jallianwala Bagh, it showed the brutality and the humiliation and the inhuman treatment which the Britishers were doing to the entire nation, and the whole nation was shocked after this incident. In fact, Gandhiji was horrified. He lost all faith in goodness of the British government, and he declared that it would be a sin to cooperate with a satanic government. So even Gandhiji was horrified after listening, after he came to know about this incident. And now he had lost all faith from the British government that, the British government would cooperate with them or would accept their demands. And therefore, now Gandhiji decided that we are not going to cooperate with this kind of government. Okay, the satanic government. So have you understood Jallianwala Bagh, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Now the Khilafat movement. This is also very important. You will get a question, a short note question, either on Jallianwala Bagh massacre or either on Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement is very important. So, shall I begin? I can at least complete Khilafat movement. This is not much, and it is simple and easier to remember. So basically, Turkey had been defeated in the First World War. So now, from where this movement started? Now we all know Turkey was defeated during the First World War, and the territories of the Turkish Empire were divided between Britain and France. Harsh treatment was given to the Turkish Sultan, who was also the religious head of all the Muslims. This is important. So now when Turkey got defeated and Turkey got divided, among Britain and France, after the defeat, what did they do? They started treating the Sultan, the Turkish Sultan, very harshly. And who was this Turkish Sultan? He was the head of all Muslims. So all Muslims, including the Muslims who were there in India also. Okay, so they considered him as head. That's the reason in Muslims it is called as Khalifa. From that word Khalifa, we come to this Khilafat movement, because that their Khalifa was being treated harshly. All right. Now, this caused a great resentment among Muslims all over the world, including India. As a result of this, the Khilafat movement was launched by the Ali brothers, that is the Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat Ali. And this is important, which two people had involved. So when Muslim heard that their Khalifa, that means their head, okay, in Turkey was being treated harshly. So what all the Muslims did, they started a movement which was called as the Khilafat movement. And who were the two people who had launched this movement from
The
India?
Ali brothers.
Maulana Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat.
Shaukat Ali.
Okay, Gandhiji and Congress also supported this movement. Okay, over here in India, what had happened? Gandhiji and Congress also supported. Now, why do you think Gandhiji supported this movement, and even the Congress supported movement? Any guesses?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes.
Ma'am, like Gandhi supported this movement in order of like he thought that after supporting them, they will also support us for the fight against the British,
Yes.
and
So
they will
basically,
unite with
yes,
us.
very good, very good. So basically, Gandhiji also supported this Khilafat movement for the Muslims, because the basic intention behind this was to bring the Hindus and Muslims together. Okay, so when the Muslims will find that even the Congress as well as Gandhiji are supporting them, so they will also take a stand for them, right? So basically, his intention was to have a unity. That's the reason Gandhiji supported. Now, the main aim of the movement was to uphold the power and prestige of the Caliph and prevention of the territorial integrity of Turkey. So, why this movement was started? Caliph, I told you, Caliph means the head. All right. So basically, they wanted to support their Caliph, that means their Sultan who is in Turkey, to support his power, to support his prestige, and to preserve his territorial integrity. That's the reason they had started this Khilafat movement for the favor of their Caliph. That is the Turkish Sultan. Clear? Clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions? This is important. You will definitely get Khilafat movement. I'll stop here. I'll wait for 2 minutes. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. If not, and if nobody's having a question, I want one of the students to just brief me about the Khilafat movement. Let's see if you all have understood.
Ma'am, yeah.
Ma'am, can I?
Somebody else? Yes, Aditya. Let's see what you've understood.
Ma'am, the Khilafat movement was started in 1919. Ma'am, Turkey had been defeated in the First World War, and the land that Turkey owned was to be divided between France and British. Ma'am, the Turkish Empire had a ruler and who was harsh treated by the France and the Britain.
The
And
Turkish
he was also
Sultan was treated harshly. All right. And who was this Turkish Sultan?
Ma'am, his name was
No. Who was he? Basically, who was this Turkish Sultan?
Ma'am,
He was the caliph.
Yes, he was the Caliph. Sultan is called Caliph. Sultan means Caliph. And who was this Caliph? He was the religious head of all the Muslims. Okay, why he got support? I think there's audio connectivity issue with Aditya. Can anybody else, can any other student continue? Yes, Priyanshu, can you continue, please?
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, after that, when all the Muslims in the world got to know that the Sultan was being treated harshly, so they all resented against the behavior of Britain and France. So, to fight this issue, the Ali brothers, Maulana Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat Ali, started the Khilafat movement so that they could relieve the Turkish Sultan. So Gandhiji and the Congress also supported this movement so that they could maintain the unity between the Hindus and the Muslims. And then the main aim of this movement was to uphold the prestige and the power of the Caliph and preserve the area of Turkey.
Yes, yes. So the basic intention of starting this Khilafat movement was to uphold the power and prestige of their Khalif, because they didn't want their Khalif, their Sultan, to be mistreated, to be treated harshly. They all supported their their Khalif, that is the Turkish Sultan. Clear, everyone? Now let's go to the next topic. This is the most important topic, that is non-cooperation. See, children, you will have civil disobedience movement, you will have non-cooperation movement. You need to understand what is the difference between non-cooperation and civil disobedience. Non-cooperation, the word itself is self-explanatory. That means we are not going to cooperate. With whom? With the Britishers, right? So how are we not going to cooperate with the Britishers? In what ways? Can you tell me? Can anybody tell me?
And by protests and strikes.
By protests and strikes. And what else? Any guesses?
Boycotting.
Okay, by boycotting, right? Because the main source of income of the Britishers was the Indian market. If the British Indian market is being affected, definitely their their economy will be affected. So now let's focus on that. That was the aim, that we will not cooperate with them, and this is how we will make sure that they suffer because of us, and not by not agitating or by not having any violence. Okay, on 31st August 1920, under Gandhiji's leadership, the non-cooperation movement was launched. Both Khilafat movements and non-cooperation movements took place around the same time. So both these movements, see, that was 1990, this is 1920. So almost somewhere together, to each other. Both these movements were lost. Now, people, what was non-cooperation movement? Basically, people resigning from all the government services, people boycotting government schools and colleges, okay, not attending any of the British schools and colleges. Instead of that, attending the local Indian schools. Okay, next, shops which were selling foreign goods were picketed. Okay, so basically whichever foreign goods were there, they were affected. Apart from that, if they had already bought any foreign goods, they had burned those foreign goods. Secondly, strikes and demonstrations were held. Okay, and by the end of 1920, the Khilafat movement merged with the non-cooperation movement. So by the end of 1920, both these movements were brought together. So non-cooperation means not cooperating with the Britishers, boycotting all the schools, colleges, all the government services, all the foreign goods. Okay, even liquor shops were boycotted. Clear, everyone? Now, the program of the non-cooperation movement. The ultimate goal of the non-cooperation movement launched by Gandhiji in 1920 was to attain Swaraj, but by peaceful and legitimate means. Okay, so ultimate goal of Gandhiji was for this program, that is for the non-cooperation movement program, was to have Swaraj, but through peaceful and through legitimate means. The program of non-cooperation movement and the methods of resistance were as follows. So what all things were included in non-cooperation movement? Let's see. Number one, boycotting of the foreign goods. Number two, boycotting of government schools, colleges, government courts. Any Indian working in government offices, they will also boycott that. Boycotting all the British institutions. Underline schools and colleges also. Third, boycotting elections and government functions. So not going to any of the British government functions or boycotting the elections. Fourth, renunciation of titles and honors awarded by the British government. So whichever Indian had got any titles or any honor from the British government, handing over back to the British government, that we do not want your recognitions. Okay. Now, the constructive programs of the movement address the following social and economic issues. Now, because of this non-cooperation movement, What was the positive impact of that? Let's see that. Okay, what was the positive impact of national movement on social and economic issues? Number one, and first underline the heading so that you know what these things come under. Okay. Positive impact on social and economic issues. Just write that. You will understand positive impact of this movement. Number one, it promoted Hindu and Muslim unity, because you will see the Khilafat movement. That means the Muslims and the Congress, they came together towards the end. Next, abolition of untouchability, which was there in the Indian society. Third, promotion of Swadeshi spirit. Now, if we are boycotting the Indian goods, if we are boycotting Indian clothes, then what are we going to wear? The next option was to promote the Swadeshi spirit, self-reliance, self-sufficiency, and the use of charkha and khadi. So this is where the khadi and charkha was brought into Indian markets. Fifth, promotion of national education. Not to attend British schools, then where to go? How are the children going to study? So promote national education, make our own education system. Okay, clear everyone till here? Children, have you all understood till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so next is the Chauri Chaura movement. I'll stop here for today because it's almost time up. Next is Chauri Chaura movement. I just want you all to read it once. Okay, children?